Okay, if you're paying attention to credit card news, then you'll know that Walmart is suing Capital One to exit their co brand and private label credit card relationship or their contract. Who knows how this is going to end up? But what Walmart is complaining basically is that Capital One has admitted that in 2022 it failed to meet the minimum standards of it on at least 5 critical SLAs. And it goes on to say, under the contract, if Capital One fails to meet a critical SLA 5 or more times in a rolling 12-month period, Walmart may terminate the agreement. And this part, especially, I think, is really important. And it will be interesting to see how this is interpreted. But here they are. One, or number 14, transaction posting. Capital One will process 99.9% of transactions by the close of the following posting day. Number 16, or the second critical SLA mentioned, card replacements. Capital One will replace 99.9% of credit cards within 5 business days. Number 19, on posting times. So this is payment processing. 97% of conforming payments will be posted within 1 business day, and 99% of non-conforming payments will be processed and posted within 5. And then it talks about electronic payments as well, 99.9%. And what that's saying is that if someone makes a payment and it conforms to certain guidelines, then Capital One will process those payments or post those payments within 1 business day of receipt with 97% of the time. And if the payment for some reason, and there's a lot of reasons this can happen, is not conforming to certain guidelines, then it will take a little bit longer for those payments to be processed. And so I will read this termination right that Walmart has put in the filing. If the bank, Capital One, fails to meet a critical SLA 5 or more times in a rolling 12-month period, Walmart may terminate the agreement. In order for such termination to be effective, the notice of termination must be delivered within 90 days after Walmart learns of such 5th critical SLA failure. And then Walmart goes on to talk about what those failures were, and it talks about the date. Capital One failed category 19, and that is this right here, where they did not post payments correctly. They only posted 55.24% of the time in July. That could happen for a lot of reasons. And they also only posted 76.4 of those within 5 business days. And those did not meet the SLA. In August 2022, they only mailed 98.01 of replacement cards within 5 business days as opposed to the 99.9%. And then August 2022, only posting 86.4 of conforming payments, 86.4% of conforming payments, and 87.89 of non-conforming payments, which was outside of the SLA. And then finally, November 2022, Capital One only posted 99.83% of transactions by the close of the following posting day, as opposed to 99.9. So 0.07% difference. And then on January 2023, it says that Capital One belatedly admitted that it had failed category 19 on June 22nd by posting, here's the percentage, and only posting this percentage of conforming and non-conforming payments. And it goes on to say that Capital One does not want to allow Walmart to terminate. It does not believe that it has failed or broken those critical SLAs as required in the contract. So, like I said before, I'm not an attorney. However, when I look at this, I think this text is what everything will come down to. And that is the definition of failing to meet a critical SLA 5 or more times in a rolling 12 months. Because I can see how perhaps Walmart is saying they did not meet a critical SLA 5 times or more because they're listing the 5 times. However, I'm not sure, I've seen these kind of termination rights in contracts. If I were reading this, or if I were looking at this contract, I think I would read it as if the bank failed to meet a critical SLA, a single critical SLA, 5 or more times in a rolling 12 months. And I say that because when I look at these SLAs, transaction posting 99.9%. If you fail to meet that particular item 5 times in a year, that's a pretty big deal. If you fail to send out replacement cards within 5 business days, 5 months out of the year, that's almost half of the year that you failed to meet something that was considered critical. And I couldn't tell if there may be other critical SLAs in the agreement outside of these, but to say, if you do not meet any combination of all of the critical SLAs, that is probably where the disagreement is coming from. So I think this is interesting to watch because the implications of this could be larger than just this one dispute. I feel like I should reiterate that I am not a lawyer, but I have signed a lot of contracts. I've read a lot of contracts. I've been involved in a lot of contract negotiations. And these SLA or service level agreements are not atypical. These kind of clauses are not atypical within contracts. So it'll be interesting to see how this unfolds because it could have broader implications to other contracts out there, which is very important to pay attention to.
Just get me the Happy Meal with the chicken nuggets. I really just want the toy. And they have those little juice.
Oh, hey, what are you still doing here, weirdo? Look, if you're still watching this, then that means that you either fell asleep or you liked what you saw. Either way, you need to subscribe. So I think there's a button around here somewhere. Click that button, subscribe, so you'll be notified when I publish new videos. Stay in touch. Until next time, this is David Schipper, and I don't know.